something on the time Peter walked on water. I don't remember giving a Bible class, but I told you to go and look at it, read it, and think about it. So we are going to look at it later. Let us look at Matthew 17:20. Because you have so little faith, I tell you the truth. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Then we look at Mark. Mark 17. Mark 17. Luke 16. Mark has no verse 17. Luke 17:5-6. The apostles said to the Lord, increase our faith. He replied, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this now barren tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will obey you. What do we learn from these two verses? That the tiniest bit of faith that is rooted in Jesus is enough to do the impossible. It is enough to move the impossible obstacles that we see in our lives. And the good thing about this verse is that then we cannot say that we have just a little faith, and that is why we are not doing something. Isn't it? The little faith we feel we have is not a reason for us not to go out there and push for the things that we want in our lives. Kuna wakati tunasikia watu wakisema I earn very little money, I live in a little house, my family is poor, I come from a humble background. That is not reason enough for us not to move forward. Actually, if you look at people who grew in the 1970s, 1960s, 1950s, in our village, who was rich? Yeah? If your family was rich and you could actually say, yes, we are rich. Who was rich? Yeah? Peter. Who was rich? The houses looked the same.
Smart.
We used to go to class in the same tattered clothes.
Fetch water.
Yeah?
Fetch water.
We used to fetch water from the river. Like me, I remember there is a time I was fetching me to Peter. Yeah? From the river. Now, actually, it wasn't even a river. The nearest place where there was water that we could actually drink, You used to go down a hill,
Yes, please.
a spring that is down somewhere huko chini, na mahali utatokea na hiyo mitugi tatu. It is so slippery. Yeah? And we still moved out of that stage.
Yes.
And that is what this verse is talking about. Don't look at that thing that you can see like it is an obstacle in front of you. Use the little faith that you have to tell it to move out of your way, because you are going very fast. Yeah?
Yes.
And if you look at the mulberry seed or the mustard seed, I think the mulberry tree is the biggest trees that ever grows. Isn't it?
Yes.
That seed that is so small grows a very big tree. And that is why Jesus used it as an example, because it is small, but it will grow into something big. And the verse is also encouraging us to keep on growing our faith, so that then we don't remain at that position where we are always talking about how we cannot do this, how we cannot do this, how we cannot do this. Because our faith is growing day by day. There is this mugumo tree that grows in Kitura. I don't know why it grows there only. Kuna mugumo tree anywhere? Or iko? So why do the Kikuyus put a lot of... Anyway, that is a story for another day. So the mugumo tree, I don't know how big the seed is, but I presume it is also a small seed. And it grows into such a big tree. Like, I remember there is one that used to be near our place. Going around it would take quite some time. It was quite, I think it is still there. It is quite big. So we can grow our faith from that small seed to something that people will marvel about. So our purpose is to make sure that we grow our faith. And the power of the faith is not in the size. It is in who your faith is in.
Amen.
That means that the power of your faith is not dependent on the much faith you have, but it is dependent on the fact that that faith that you have is in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
You are getting the point? That my faith is great because it is hitched, it is on
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Because you can have a lot of faith on other things
Yes.
and still fail to do what you want to do. And you can have that little faith that is hinged on the Lord, and you are able to do great things. And from the reading, what is going to move the mountain is the strength that the Lord gives you, and not your effort.
Yes.
That your faith will lead you to get the strength from the Lord. And then this strength is the one that is going to move
Yes.
the mountain in your life. And it is encouraging to us not to rely on our own strength, but to rely on the strength of whom we have faith in. So how do you overcome that little faith? How do you overcome that idea of little faith? You overcome it by knowing that the thing I'm calling little can actually move great mountains. So, whatever amount of faith you have, it is also great faith. Isn't it? If it can move great things, it means it is great. Isn't it? The other thing is that you have to make your faith grow. Jesus, using the metaphor of the mustard seed, was so that he could show us that seed, as small as it looks, or as little as it looks, is planted in the right soil. It is going to bring forth a big what? The mustard seed is going to bring forth a big
Tree.
itazaa mti mkubwa. That means even your faith, if you plant it in the correct soil, it is also going to grow into great faith that will do great things. So we have to ensure that we grow our faith and that our faith is transformative. That it is going to move us from weak people to strong people in the Lord. That is, it is going to move us from people who are not able to do something to people who are able to do great things. That is the growth and transformative aspect of our faith. And we can only abide in this faith if our life remains in God. That means we have to pray to God, we have to read His Word, we have to do what He has commanded us to do. That is the only way we are going to abide in Him. That even when we do not understand, you know, our understanding sometimes is very limited. Even when we do not understand, we still abide in the Lord and ask Him to continue increasing our faith. To continue believing in Him. To continue doing the things that He has commanded us to do. Let us now look at another Bible verse that talks about faith. And what happened to those to the people who walked in faith or did not walk in faith. Who read the Bible verse on Peter walking on water? Tuliagana tutaenda kusoma au hatukuagana? Tulisema tutaenda kusoma that verse on Peter walking on water. Kuna mtu alisoma? Eh? Matthew 14:28. Nikasema nini? read together because of time. Matthew 14, 22 to 33. Matthew 14, 22 to 33. You can also read Mark 6, 47 to 51 on your own. Mark 6, 47 to 51. Matthew 14, 22 to 33. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat. Remember, this is after Jesus had fed the 5,000. So he had already performed a miracle that was enough to increase or to sustain the people who are allowed to sustain their faith. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. During the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." So here, we had said that we were going to ask ourselves, why did Peter all of a sudden? Remember, he had seen Jesus performing the miracle of feeding the 5,000. He had seen Jesus coming in the water. They had asked him who he was. He had confirmed that he was Jesus. And Peter had he had enough faith. So much faith actually, that he was able to move out of the boat and walk towards Jesus. Then he saw the weeds. Jesus is standing here, and I am seeing the weeds. Yeah? Peter anaona Yesu ako hapa, lakini bado anaona mawimbi yakimujia. And remember, even before Jesus appeared, were the mawimbi still there?
Yes.
Even before Jesus appeared,
Yes.
the winds were still there, and they were still blowing, and the waves were still swaying their boat to and fro. But now it seems like all of a sudden Peter has noted these waves, and now he cannot move towards Jesus. So is it that he had too little faith? Jesus asked him, you of little faith, why did you doubt? What do you think it is? Of course, Jesus said he is of little faith. And he also says with doubt. So we can assume that he had the little faith, according to the measure that Jesus has put on us. And he also had doubt, started doubt. What made him doubt? What made him doubt?
Little faith.
Yes?
Because of little faith.
Because of?
Little faith.
Because of the little faith. What made him doubt?
The waves.
He
The
the focus. He stopped focusing on Jesus
And started focusing on the
waves.
and he also feared. And had he recognized that that voice was Jesus' voice?
Also that reminder of something it's
Did he? He did. He recognized that the voice was Jesus' voice. He had enough faith to walk on the water. But he got frightened by the winds. So what does this tell us about our life? Do we listen to God and hear His voice? Do we listen to God and recognize His voice when He is talking to us? Are there things that come our way, even after we have heard the voice of the Lord and recognized it? Are there things that come our way and try to move us from the Lord?
Yes.
Remember that this fear, this doubt came to Peter just when he was about to reach Jesus. Ametoka kwa boat, ametembea, amekaribia Yesu. And the reason why we know he was near Jesus is that Jesus told him, leta mkono wako. That means this must be. Na umetembea kutoka kwenu mpaka kwa mahali naenda kufanya hivyo.